dealing with deep stuff and heavy stuff. But you might remember from a few weeks ago when we first began this series in Ephesians that Paul says the whole purpose of God is to bring all things together in unity under the headship of Christ. That the work that Jesus is doing to reach people and to call people to himself, all of that is going to be culminated one day in bringing all things together in unity under the headship of Christ. And that is the big picture plan of what God is doing in this world, in this age. Gathering, lifting up Christ his head, gathering, until one day his reign will be fully established over all creation and he will reign supreme without people, without any offense to that. God's purpose is to gather us together in unity. And as we live that out here in this body, as we work that out in our everyday lives, we're participating in the grand scheme of God. It's not the Westing game where money is at stake. It's the kingdom of God where eternity is at stake. And the decisions, the relationships, the conversations, the judgments we make, the conflicts we have, the encouragements we give, all of that is a part of bringing things together in unity under the headship of Christ. When I got to the end of my book, The Westing Game, it was so satisfying. And I shut the book and I ran downstairs and I told Adam, I just finished this book. And I'd been telling him, this is such a great book. I'm loving it. It's so fun. And I came down and I told him, I finished the book. I said, now I want you to read it so we can talk about it. And I was just excited about knowing how the mystery ended. It was just fun. But I'm also excited about how this mystery of unity is working out here at City Life and also in the broader church beyond this body. They say that the church in the southern hemisphere, that's where the gospel is booming. That's where people are coming alive to Christ. That's where many, many people are finding Jesus, and Christianity is taking off in like South America and the southern hemisphere. You get in the northern hemisphere, North America, Europe, Christianity is just dying. There's so much to be said about us coming together in unity and being part of what God is doing with bringing all things together under his head. The title of our sermon series for this book of Ephesians is Super Church, Marvel at the Power. And I'd like you to take just a couple moments and reflect on the fact that because of Jesus, you're part of the super church. I'm not talking about just City Life, although I think we have an awesome body here. I'm talking about the church. If you know Jesus, if you are a follower of him and you have received salvation by faith in him, you are part of his super church. And you can marvel at the power of God that is at work in you. And I would like for us to take just a few minutes of reflection to marvel at how your life has been changed and challenged and benefited by having relationships with people who are different from you. How have you been influenced for the positive? How have you been changed? How have you been encouraged because of relationships with people who are different from you? If you haven't noticed, I'm white. And I have learned so much from my African American friends. I had a conversation, I won't go into it this time, but I had a conversation with an African American woman at the camping trip yesterday, and I totally offended her. I said something completely inappropriate, didn't even realize it till later. And she very, very sweetly said, now why would you assume that? And I thought, oh, but she helped me get a perspective I didn't have. I have my Dominican neighbors, and we kind of stumble over communication with each other, but we're working on it, we're getting there, and it teaches me to be intentional about relationships. And not just to say, oh, well, I'm not even going to bother trying because, it's too hard to talk to each other. It teaches me to persevere in things that matter. How has your life been improved or changed or challenged by a relationship with someone who's different from you? And it doesn't have to be race. It could be someone who's different from you economically. Maybe it's someone who has a lot less than you have. Maybe it's somebody who has a lot more than you have, and you've learned a lot from that person. Take a minute and marvel at the power of reconciliation in your life and how you are being changed